everybody. Welcome to day 2, Breakfast with Bob for 70.3 World Championships, beautiful Taupo. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, SFuels, right fuel, right time, Deboer Wetsuits, Quintana, and our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Imogen Simmonds, who really likes 70.3 World Championships. She's been on the podium twice and has a 6th place back in 2018. Imogen, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, nice to be here. Nice to be in New Zealand. What a fantastic spot. And yeah.
Have you raced here a lot?
I've never been to New Zealand before.
Wow, that is us too. We were so excited. We were supposed to come here in 2020, right, when the whole world shut down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think New Zealand definitely shut down, but it's definitely been so welcoming for us now. Like as an athlete, I feel so welcomed in this little town, but wow, it's amazing to be here.
It is really amazing to be here. And you know, like I mentioned, that you've been on the podium twice, 3rd place twice at 70.3 Worlds. It doesn't seem that the moment scares you or the lights scare you.
I think this year's been a bit different with the T100 series, to be honest. Like you look at the start list and it's a lot longer, but I've been racing these girls consistently all year round. So I'd say like most of the big names, obviously there are a few that weren't doing the T100 series, but a lot of the ones to watch, if you like, we've been battling it out all year, and it's kind of just become a lot more normal and less tense about the whole situation, which I think has been quite helpful, to be honest.
Well, and the T100s, basically every time you line up, it's like being at the start of a world championship.
Yes, it is. That's how it feels.
Yeah, right? So you did Singapore. You did 5 T100s.
Yeah, no, I missed a couple. I missed Miami because I had a sprain in my ankle. Right. I missed Vegas as well. Okay. But otherwise, it's been quite present, I'd say.
Yeah, well, and 2nd in London and 4th at Alcatraz. Was that the first time you'd done Alcatraz?
Yeah. Oh, that was insane. I loved it. That was so much fun.
Jumping off
the boat was just the best thing ever. Right? Yeah. And like it was, it's a proper, the conditions in that bay are not to be messed around with. Yeah. We had so many boats all around us to make sure that no one got lost.
You got swept away.
But it was an amazing experience. I really like that race.
It's one of those races where you do most swims to say, just follow the buoys. There's no buoys in. Like you're jumping off a boat and you're basically saying, go that way.
Yeah, I actually came out the water first, but only because people, like with the waves and the current, everyone was like swimming on top of me. So I was like fed up with that, and I went right, and then I ended up, I don't know what, it just worked out, but a better line or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, I thought I was 5 minutes behind, but it turned out I was in front of the perhaps faster swimmers.
And Taylor was raving about the bike course too.
Oh yeah, it was really fun. It was fun. It was like a roller coaster. It felt like, but yeah.
Good for you. That's great. And I mean, when you're racing, Ibiza, you got 7th, and London 2nd, Dubai 9th. You end up 9th in the series?
Yeah, I think so.
$40,000. I mean, that's not including all the prize money from the individual races and the kind of. That's a pretty good year.
Yeah, it's a nice year. I think it was just fun, like kind of traveling around with everyone, and exploring new places. But I have to say, it's nice to not be in a huge city for a race. Actually, it's nice to be able to, go on a path along the lake and just enjoy the scenery, as opposed to perhaps tackling more cityscapes. But
with buses or all the rest.
Well, I guess it's just like for training at the end of the day, it's a lot more convenient. I mean, racing in cities is amazing, and we've had epic courses in the T100, but just a different vibe.
Totally different. And so this next year, do you see something similar with T100, or do you see mixing in a full, or what do you think?
I haven't fully decided the schedule. We just had our contracts through, so just kind of making some decisions on that front.
It's a tough one, because if you commit to the Ironman series, you got to do 3 full Ironman. That's a lot. Yeah. And if you commit to T100, then are you still able? They can go do some 70.3s if they fit in.
Yeah, I haven't done an Ironman since 2020.
Let's
one.
See.
I did three. You
did Ironman
Finland,
and then
Finland.
Finland.
Yeah, but then I did Florida, and I blew
South Africa.
and South Africa, and I had turns out I had severe gut issues. And hence the gut issues that became very apparent at kilometer 28 in Ironman Florida, where I went from leading the race to I'm not sure where.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah. So I think I'm a bit like scarred from that, a bit traumatized.
Well, and then what's nice is you really don't need to go down that path.
Yeah.
In this day and age, when you're, when you can race at the T100,
And for sure you can race at 70.3 because you got the raw speed.
Yeah, I think so. I think I mean, like, I did Kona in 2019, and I definitely feel that that's a bit of unfinished business. I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah, it was. I didn't really run. I blew up at 150k on the bike, to be honest, and that was, yeah, it was a sufferfest from then on. But yeah, it definitely feels like there's and not necessarily have to go back to Kona, but do an Ironman World Championships at some point before.
right?
Yeah.
Like Nice,
Nice would be fun. Nice looked amazing. Yeah.
Well, see, yeah, for someone who can handle the bike, that is
It looked a lot of fun.
little bit. That's the roller coaster.
Yeah.
With all the road furniture and all the other crap out there.
Well, I just think it's like, I think you actually have to be able to ride a bike as opposed to just push raw power, which obviously is part of it. But I do think like it's a skill in itself, and and I think should be part of a race, to be honest.
Racing, right?
Yeah,
That's why
not just an out and back, which I'm not so keen on.
Yeah. Now, when you first got into this stuff, was it
the Olympics was the draw.
No,
You came in long distance.
I came in as a age grouper.
right?
You said I had 2 70.3 podiums, but actually I was world champion in my age group.
Oh, so we got 3 podiums. So that was what, 6 years or something?
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, no, not Chattanooga. It was Mooloolaba.
Mooloolaba.
Yeah.
So you won that, obviously.
Yeah, that's how I got my pro license.
Then you're like, I might as well go make some money doing this.
Exactly, yeah. And here I am.
And how important is it? Because
During COVID, we didn't know if the sport's coming back or not. We didn't know what was going to be happening. And PTO steps in and took care of prize money, and then they've created the Opens, and now it's the T100 series. How important has that been for you, just as a pro, to know that you can be taken care of as a pro?
I mean, it's nice. I think you still have to be getting results to be taken care of at the end of the day. Like it's definitely a construct which the higher you are, you benefit more, right? But I guess that's life. And I think I had amazing sponsors through COVID as well. So I was extremely fortunate that they stayed with me and allowed me to carry on racing professionally, because not only did I have COVID, I had a hip operation and then I had my gut issues. So it was a bit of a COVID was worldwide, but it was like a long period without the best results.
Right.
So that made last year's third place really that much more special, to be honest. But yeah, it's interesting how the T100 is also changing the face of the sport. I'm sure you've noticed a lot more Olympic distance athletes on start lines winning races, and I think next year's 70.3 Marbella World Champs the start list is going to look very different, and I think the racing will be very different as well. Like a lot more speed on the swim is going to be required. And I also hope that that Ironman takes that into consideration and changes the draft distance to 20 meters, because I think that really keeps it a fair place, and it does mark the difference between Olympic distance racing and long distance racing. And I think that should, for professionals, I think 20 meters is really fundamental to making it a fair race, and that's why it is so different, and different tactics to just draft legal racing.
Yeah. I mean, because the reality is, if it's 12 meters, you see and then
we've seen the trains, right?
The trains, and the hard part is you really can't get away. But I always feel bad when you're sitting, and when I watch in Kona, and you've got a string of, because everybody is so good, you got like 10, 12 people. How do you pass all 12 people? I understand why people would sit in a position and try to save as much energy as possible.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, watching Patrick Langer, he raced the perfect race. He did exactly what he had to do, and it was incredible to watch him just run through everyone.
Yes.
Like, he's such a phenomenal runner. But I do think that, like, it's unfortunate that it doesn't reward the people who take the risks on the bike. And I think that having a 20-meter rule would really make the bike a bit more important,
Yes.
as opposed to like a pure running race, which I think it's going to become more and more of if it keeps to 12 meters.
Well, and what's fascinating about that too is you've got the way people are riding now. It used to be when I was looking at who to interview in Kona, it would be, okay, they're swimming 50, they're riding 4:15, 4:20, and they're running 250. And you're going, that person from the guy's perspective would be a factor.
Yeah.
And then now as I'm looking through Hamburg and different results, guys are swimming 47, they're riding 4:03, and they're running 2:38. I'm like,
It's just phenomenal,
It's
like
phenomenal.
what's happening. But yeah, I do think that would change the dynamics a bit of the racing.
yeah. Well, the difference too is if it's 20 meters, if somebody slots, they're like 18 or so, it's not that big a deal. But if you're 12 and people are moving into 10,
Yeah,
it's
a bit of a joke, really, isn't it?
It really is. And in this day and age, there really isn't any reason why you can't make it 20 meters for the pros.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause there's
Obviously,
separate
logistically, it's not possible for everyone, but I think for the pros, with money involved, contracts involved, I think it's honestly a fundamental change that needs to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So the other races that look at all the different places you went, Spain and Dubai and UK and US and Singapore. That's a ton of travel.
Yeah, it is. I'm very fortunate that my boyfriend travels with me, so he's able
Sherpa?
to. I'm not sure I'd call him a Sherpa, but
To his face.
no. But he does. He does travel with me, and it's amazing having someone. It completely changes how I feel about, for instance, taking on the T100 series. I think it can be quite exhausting just doing it on yourself, which I've done, and for years. But I think now it kind of feels like actually I came straight here from Dubai, so I've been here for 3.5 weeks now.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't miss home or anything. It's really nice to be here. Kyle Smith has been looking after us a bit, as he is obviously from here.
Right.
And yeah, it just feels very much like a home away from home. So that's nice.
So being here for so long, you've ridden the bike course, I'm assuming, a few times.
Yeah, I've ridden it. I've only ridden on weekends because in the
it's
week
practice,
it was awful. And then, so yeah, it's quite quiet on the weekends.
And what'd you think?
Oh, it's great.
You love it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this, not that much more than 2,000 feet or so of climbing, but it seems like there's like early on climbing, late climbing, there's in the wind, in the chip seal, road.
Yeah, it took me a while to get used to the roads and like that sensation. But now I think it's okay. I think the wind could be a big factor, to be honest, on Saturday. Most mornings it's quite consistent. I've noticed it to be quite consistent. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun bike course.
So in your career, obviously when you win 70.3 World in Age Grouper, you knew, okay, now it's time to go pro. When did you feel you could be competitive as a pro? That, okay, this is the right move I made?
I mean, it was kind of gradual. And then, I remember I was racing in 70.3 World Champs in South Africa, Port Elizabeth.
18.
And I was running side by side with Radka. And I was like, what am I doing here? I think we were at the time racing for like 4th, 5th, and Pamela Oliveira was just behind us. Yeah. And we ran like 18K side by side, racing for 4th, 5th, and then at 18K Pamela attacked, went past us, and my legs blew. But I was honestly like 6th in the world at that level. I'd only been pro for a year and a half,
right?
I think.
Yeah.
So it was quite like fast, but I'd been racing like quite consistently in Asia, and I'd done Dubai that year, and I was like, okay, I'm in good shape. And I think the training mentality I had then was quite different to what I have now.
Yes.
And I think it's evolved a lot. Like back then, I, for instance, wouldn't take an off season. I just didn't need to, but now I definitely need to for my head, for my life.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of
Well, that
fell
was
into
it. I mean, you're running with the best in the world,
Yeah.
and you're getting sixth place. You're coming away from that. If someone had said beforehand you're going to get sixth in the world, you were like,
Oh no, I was dreaming of like a top 20, and
Right.
suddenly I was like, whoa, what am I doing here?
now did that change things for you from sponsorships, etc.? Or a
it
lot,
changed
right?
a lot. Like I'd had support from Canyon before that, but then after that, I got
real support.
I had real support. I got a contract, and yeah, like honestly, Canyon has been amazing to me, and I've been with them for like 7 years, which is really quite cool. And I think about that.
Yes, for a bike company. Yeah,
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
usually stay in that long. That's
That's
good.
amazing. Yeah, they're phenomenal, and the work they do and development that they do and the support they give us is insane. So I know I'm extremely fortunate to be in that position. But yeah, I think that changed a lot, and then backing it up with a third place in Nice was obviously helped as well.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the deal is some people are sort of afraid of the big events because there's deep fields, lots of spotlights.
Yeah.
But if you want to get great sponsorship, you need to perform on the biggest stage.
Yeah, I think that's it. And like I've always told myself, don't shy away. And even in when it was in St. George, like I hadn't had a good year. I wasn't feeling great, but I'd qualified, so I had to miss the Ironman because I had an operation
Right.
2 months before. But then because I actually qualified for the World Champs that year, long course. But then the half distance in St. George, I was like, you know what, like I can't risk it. And I think I've always raced with quite a not aggressive, but I'm not afraid kind of mindset. And I was in decent position coming off the bike, I think like 5th or something.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't badly placed, but then the gut issues came through, and that was the end of my race really. But yeah, I think I've always been quite, not afraid to race the best, and it's fun.
It's funny because over the years, interviewing lots and lots of pros, there's you when you meet people who are not afraid of the moment, you can see it right away. Like when you were in Daytona and Magnus Ditlev, who nobody had ever heard of, just like went through everybody and blew up. Right, they had gut issues or whatever he had, but he wasn't afraid of the moment. Wasn't afraid to put his nose in the wind. And that's, to me, one of those attributes you need to have if you're going to be the best.
Yeah, I think you gotta be able to risk it and not be afraid to risk it.
Yes.
And I sometimes I catch myself being cautious. I'm like, come on, Imogen, this isn't you. This isn't how you race.
Right.
Like, you're not gonna, if you want to get what you want to get and how you want to finish, you've got to be a bit more aggressive than this. And
Yes.
Yeah.
How has and we've seen this amazing growth and speed in terms of the bike over the last number of years, right? It's just the times have plummeted. How have you adapted to that? Do you do more time in a wind tunnel, more time, figuring power out indoors? What do you do?
Yeah, I have to say, I think we have to thank Daniela and Taylor for that, because between the two of them, they've just like pushed us to raise all our stand and raise the game around them. Just I know Daniela didn't ride with a power meter, but I would love to know some of her numbers.
Oh my God, yes.
Anyways, I think you just got to, I've done a lot more like race specific stuff going into the races now, and a lot more just sitting at power. And yeah, honestly, it's not always the most exciting stuff, but just,
right.
Yeah.
It was funny when we were talking to Julie Deron after she got her silver medal. And I mean, you were talking about you're running with Radka and thinking, what am I doing here? She's like, she's leading the group of 4 in the Olympics and thinking, cool, I'll get 4th. she's already decided that then the other person on the other shoulder is going, you're leading here. You're pushing the pace. Why are you selling yourself 4th?
It was phenomenal. I think like also after Nicola retired last year and then Daniela retiring this year, it was awesome to see, Swiss women. We're going strong in the Olympics, and now she's moved up to the middle distance, which is a little bit exhausting, to be honest. But she's absolutely nailing it. And again, raising the game, like her running is just phenomenal.
Yes.
She's consistent across the board. And I mean, it makes it so dangerous, but it's nice that we have Swiss representation.
Exactly. And it was great to have her just immediately move over. Actually,
Well, she kind of moved over before as well.
she had done,
right?
yes.
So,
She
like, it
definitely
wasn't
had
from
qualified.
nowhere, yeah.
I actually sent a note to Ironman. It's like, you used to have a wild card for people who got Olympic medals. How about for Nice for Julie? That would have been fun to see her mix it up there.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting, to be honest. But I guess like you can't just
You can't just put people
yeah.
in. You got to go through this. You got to go through the system. Yeah.
Or it's got to be like laid out before at least.
Right. Yeah. And I think before it was gold. If you got to go like Flora Duffy, I think might have been offered. I don't know if it was 70.3 Worlds or Kona a number of years ago after she won. After she won gold.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you will take a break after this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna explore New Zealand.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm super excited. Like as I said before, it's my first time here, and I mean, you can't miss up on an opportunity like that, can you?
No, you cannot. Yeah, it'd be really cool. Yeah. Really fun. Imogen, always such a treat to get to chat with
you very
It's been too long, and hopefully we'll get to see each other at races next year.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Imogen Simmonds has been our guest, everybody. Again, we're at 70.3 World Championships in beautiful Taupo. Hold on, we will be right back.